So then, the United States Grand Prix, the sprint weekend. Let's have a bit of a talk about it because, well, let's start off a little bit with the sprint. Then we'll get into the race. And then from there, I'll have some hot takes here and there and maybe somewhere else. The sprint was a tale of Max Verstappen, really. Like, he did well to qualify up at the front. He ran well over the course of the race and managed to fend off charges from Sainz, Norris and Leclerc as Russell dropped back down the order. At the same time, there were some drivers who got a little bit unlucky compared to others. So, for example, Lewis Hamilton seemed to be going fast in qualifying until there was a yellow flag, which meant that he didn't get a second run in. And then apparently on the way to the grid, issues with his suspension meant that he was just struggling for the entire sprint. Managed to be, well, ahead of Piastri and Perez, who had even more misfortune in qualifying. But it's not much in the way of consolation, is it? In the actual qualifying in the race, it got worse for the 7-time champion. Because Lewis Hamilton, who also had a moment in which he span in free practice, also span in the race, having been locked out of Q1 of qualifying. Early on the second lap, he ends up being the one retirement of the race. At Circuit of the Americas, his first retirement in the United States, apparently. But up towards the pointy end of the field, and, well, we end up seeing Lando Norris get pole position and fail to lead the first lap. Again. This time, Verstappen got through, as did the two Ferraris. Which is not great. But the Ferraris run off, right? They ran off into the distance, and it's weird to say the Ferrari round 1-2 seemed a little bit dull. Especially because we come off the back of 2023, where anybody that wasn't Red Bull winning a race would have immediately been a big deal. But yeah, there wasn't so much of an effort placed on following the Ferraris because they were just gone. I mean, it's quite telling that if you look at the final result, Verstappen, who albeit had the battle with Lando Norris towards the end, was 19 seconds off the win. Then Norris in 4th, we'll talk about that in a moment because of the last lap penalty. Piastri in 5th, just about. Russell in 6th, who passed Perez with only, a couple of laps left to go? But having started well down the order, managed to pass Perez, who I think started 9th. Then the points are rounded out by Nico Hülkenberg, Liam Lawson, and Franco Colapinto, who for the longest time held the fastest lap. Then Alpine decided to pit Ocon so he could get the fastest lap, take away the point from Williams, which should benefit Alpine and the manufacturers somehow. Or at the very least, not benefit Williams. I mean, in the week where they've announced that the bonus point is going to go away at the end of the season, you can kind of see why. Although the gap between the two of them, as we get into with the championship standings, is down to 2 points. Not 2 points, sorry, 4 points even. It's, yeah, strange tactics. And speaking of strange tactics, I really don't know what to make of the Lando Norris penalty. Because, well, as a Lewis Hamilton fan, I feel like it's deserved that Verstappen, if he was to stay ahead, would get a penalty, a la Brazil 2021. I mean, 4 wheels beyond the white line. I know he was so far wide in Sao Paulo that he ended up past Rio de Janeiro, but it looked to me that Verstappen went off, gained an advantage. At the same time, I can see why you might give Lando the penalty, because he does just go full throttle and go past. But there were some weird consistencies and weird inconsistencies within the stewarding. Because in some ways, yeah, the car who made an overtake through the situation would get a penalty. But you look at George Russell. But at the same time, to what extent is that driver at fault? Answers on a postcard, or fax, I guess. Anyways, what's happened as a result of that sprint weekend is that, Max Verstappen has managed to gain another 4 points on Lando Norris. Gap is now up at 57 points, which is still catchable within the final 5 rounds of the season, especially since we still have 2 sprints left. But if you think about it, over those 5 rounds, that means he has to gain an average of 10 points every single race. And look, Lando's made this his own problem in the end. You could argue that he had, at the very least, a 2-point swing, if not a 4-point swing, as a result of the actions in the sprint. And because he didn't make the most of his opportunities in the Grand Prix, another 4-point swing. Him losing 2, Max gaining 2 in both those cases. I would say that that is completely of his own doing, and then negates the Hungary thing, because I know that there are still a lot of fans who want to mention the Hungary thing. To which I usually mention Belgium, but this is another thing that you can use to negate it. But in the manufacturers, through all of this, there is still a 40-point lead for McLaren over Red Bull. And 40 points is a big deal, with 5 races left. In fact, what's even a bigger deal is after that 1-2 for Ferrari are now 8 points behind Red Bull. And I heard them talking about this on the Sky broadcast, which I didn't really fathom until looking at the stat sheet. There's every chance that Red Bull could walk away with the driver's title for Max, and yet finish 3rd in the manufacturers. I'm trying to think when else that could have happened. And granted, I'm recording this at nearly 2 o'clock in the morning, because long days, long nights, and this is the only chance I got to sit down and watch it. But off the top of my head, I can't really think of many where that is the situation. I mean, I'm just trying to think back to previous seasons for Red Bull. The thing is, they used to not get 1-2 in the drivers, but still win the manufacturers. I think 2008, Ferrari won the constructors, but McLaren was 2nd. 2007, well, Ferrari did the double, but McLaren would have won the constructors if they hadn't gotten themselves disqualified. 2006, it was a double for Renault, as was 05. When's the last time that something like that would have happened? I think we have to go back to... No, it couldn't even have been 97, 96. I can't actually think of the last time that has happened. So if anybody can tell me when that would be, please let me know. Because I can't think of any in my lifetime. Can't really think of any in the past 30 years where that would be the situation. Because usually you have the two of them match up. Yeah, let me know your thoughts about that one. And as always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking through me throughout all of this. I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I did, being able to stay up, watch this, and make this. And until next time, it's bye-bye for now.